When you made the hard decision to put your parent in a nursing home, I bet you thought things would be easier. But instead, you're checking in on them more than ever. You're calling to make sure she got her medications, noticing she's sitting in a soiled diaper for hours. Last month, she fell. And when you asked the nursing director what was happening, they looked tired and rushed. She sighs. We're doing the best we can with the staff we have, they told you. So now you're checking the staffing levels. You're documenting medication errors. You're questioning whether this facility is even safe. And you're starting to wonder, is this just how things are? Or is something else going on? I'm David, lead pharmacist at MyRxPro. And here's what I want to tell you. The system isn't broken because people in it don't care. The healthcare system used to provide quality care because that's what used to make money. Today, the healthcare system has been redesigned to extract resources instead of provide care. And when you understand how it works, you'll finally understand why fighting for your parent feels so impossible. Today, I'm going to show you what happened to nursing homes, how you can fight for better care now, and what you can do on the legislative front so you can fight for better care in the future for yourself. Before we dive into the nursing home crisis, I need to introduce you to a concept. It's called enshittification. Tech writer Cory Doctorow coined the term in 2023 to describe a pattern that repeats across industries. And once you see it everywhere. That's why this term has exploded across the internet. But even if you haven't heard of it, you've seen it many times. Here's how it works. At stage one, a company launches. They want to grow, so they need users. So they build something actually useful, that's something people actually want. Think about Facebook in 2004, Google in the early days, Twitter when it first started. These platforms generally worked for you. Next is stage two. Once you're locked in, once all your friends are there, your work is there, your whole social life is there, they stop investing in what made it good. They start extracting value from you instead of providing value to you. Ads show up, an algorithm that manipulates you into wasting time. But now you can't leave because you're locked in. You're trapped. Then comes stage three. Now they extract maximum value from advertisers, from investors, from literally anyone except the actual users. The service gets worse and worse. The algorithm rage baits you because it's engaging. The ads get more aggressive, but you're still stuck. There's no alternative. And here's the genius of enshittification. It only works because you have no choice. Enshittification is not limited to tech companies, though. Healthcare, and specifically nursing homes, are in stage three. It's not that nurses, doctors, and pharmacists don't care. We care deeply, but the system we work in has been re-engineered to extract profits instead of providing care. There is no way you can extract profits without extracting the quality of care. The lower the quality of care, the greater the profits. It's as simple as that. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. Over the last 20 years, something changed in the nursing home industry. Private equity firms started buying them up. If you aren't familiar with private equity, let me give you a brief tutorial. They operate a lot like mosquitoes carrying malaria. They fly in, they feast, they cause a massive amount of collateral damage, all while just existing in their own little corporate worlds. It's completely indifferent to the destruction they leave behind. A lot of people look at this and call it vulture capitalism, but that's not really accurate. Vultures only arrive after an animal has started dying. This is predatory capitalism. They find perfectly stable facilities, drain its lifeblood, and make enormous profits while the building and the nursing home care completely collapses. They found a way to make enormous profits while letting the operations fail. It's called the OpCo PropCo model. It is devastating the nursing home industry and it's perfectly legal. Here's how it works. Step one, private equity firms identify a nursing home with modest profits. They buy it, but they don't continue to run it like it used to be run. In step two, they restructure the company on paper. Now there's two companies. One is the property company, aka the PropCo. This is the company that owns the building itself, the real estate. Say hello to the new landlords. The second is the operating company, aka the OpCo. This is the company that runs the day-to-day operations. The OpCo are the nurses, the staff, they cook the food, they administer the medications, and they take care of your mother. On the surface, this seems reasonable. After all, McDonald's is a real estate company too. But here's how it becomes predatory. In step 3, the landlord starts to jack up the rent. Sorry, the investors need to be paid. In this government report, they saw rent sometimes 10 times the fair market value. Settle down, Uncle Moneybags. This research paper shows the OpCo-PropCo model is used to obscure their profits. On paper, this makes the OpCo look bankrupt. This is because the rent is so high that the OpCo can barely operate. But the problem is the landlords and the OpCo are colluding. In any other arrangement, it would be called extortion. Step 4, the OpCo starts cutting costs so that they can afford the rent. They fire the registered nurses and they hire nurse assistants. They cut the food budget. The food arrives cold because the kitchen doesn't have the staff to deliver the food. They run on a lean crew during nights and weekends because that's where the managers can cut the most. They delay maintenance on medical equipment. They hire cheaper, less experienced staff. All of it to pay higher rent to their parent company. Step 5 is getting paid, baby. The private equity investors get richer and richer, charging higher and higher rents. They are extracting money from the operating company month after month. It's legal. It's built into the structure. And it's unstoppable because the OpCo is contractually obligated to pay that rent. And the people who suffer? Your mother and thousands of other people like her. Now, this might sound like a conspiracy theory, but I assure you it's not. Let me show you some research. This study shows that when private equity takes over nursing homes using the OpCo-PropCo model, mortality increases. A 10% increase in deaths. 10% is not a small number, and behind those numbers are real people dying. Those numbers are abstract, but let me tell you how you might be seeing this. When a nursing home is understaffed, here is what you might be seeing. Let's say one day your parent is suddenly admitted to the hospital with high blood pressure. That's unusual because you thought it was under control. You start noticing small things over the next few days. Your mother's hair is unwashed. You realize those scheduled twice weekly baths in her care plan aren't actually happening. Suddenly, she gets wildly confused and combative. They find out it's a urinary tract infection. But based on how advanced the symptoms are, that infection has likely been festering for 3 or 4 days completely unnoticed. You look at her medication administration records, and you see quetiapine. The chart says it's for agitation. When did they start this? Why didn't anyone call you? You look around the floor. On paper, there's supposed to be 3 CNAs. But really, you only see 1, and they are running from room to room, sweating, trying to answer 20 flashing call lights. You ask to see the administration records, and that's when the timeline all clicks. Last week, the floor was short-staffed. She didn't get her medications. She didn't get her baths. The lack of hygiene and dehydration resulted in a UTI that nobody noticed. 2 days later, that UTI explodes into acute delirium. She gets agitated. Now it's Tuesday night. A single nurse is drowning with 30 other residents. She doesn't have the time to sit and calm your mother down. So she opens the cart. She grabs the quetiapine, an antipsychotic sedative. The CNA did it to survive their shift. The system left them with little choice. The facility tells you it's just part of aging, but it's not. It's the direct result of understaffing. Look at this study. Nursing homes with the lowest nursing staff have 30% higher hospital readmission rates than adequately staffed facilities. That 30% gap represents thousands of residents just like your parents that end up back in the ER. Not because of aging, but because of private equity demanded its profits. It's happening in major chains right now, today. They aren't small operations. These are multi-billion-dollar companies with thousands of facilities across the country. I can nearly guarantee you have at least one in your town. And the common thread? Private equity ownership. The OpCo-PropCo structure. Inflated rents. Skeleton crews, missed medications, infections, and hospitalizations. If your parent is in a facility owned by a private equity firm, you need to understand that their incentive structure is to extract profit, not provide care. That's not cynicism, that's how it was designed. Connecticut passed a law requiring nursing homes to publicly disclose who owns the building. And this is huge. Knowing who owns keeps them accountable. Because the owners know this will be disclosed, the rent amount becomes less egregious. Transparency is working. Now you are probably wondering what you can do if your facility is understaffed. Document it. Keep a log of when medications are late or missed, what staff members are on duty, when your parent fell or was injured, when communication from staff was delayed. Why? Because every facility that takes Medicare money gets a star rating from CMS of 1 to 5. If you report medication errors and falls, it affects their rating. And their rating affects their funding and their reputation. When you talk to the director of nursing, don't just say, I'm concerned about staffing. Instead, say, I have documented dates and times when medications were not administered. Can we talk about how we can make sure she gets her medications on time? Suddenly, you're not being difficult with vague complaints. You're being your parent's advocate and you're speaking the language the facility understands. If you want to go further, support legislation like Take Back Our Hospitals Act, introduced by Senator Murphy in March of 2026. It would ban private equity from owning nursing homes and hospitals altogether. Some states are moving independently, requiring disclosure of ownership structures. They're setting minimum staffing ratios, limiting what OpCos can charge PropCos in rent. Locally, if you see a facility being sold to private equity, attend city council meetings. Talk to local news. These deals sometimes need local approval. When communities know what's at stake, things can change. Unfortunately, the OpCo-PropCo model isn't a bug in the healthcare system. Right now, it's the default. It was redesigned to extract profits, and it's working exactly as it was designed. But it's only working because most families don't know why. Once you know, you can fight back. You can document it, you can report it, you can demand better. And you're not alone. Congress is fighting, states are passing laws, and families are pushing back. Change is happening. But it only happens because people like you refuse to accept that this is just how it is. Because it is not. Your mom deserves better than a system designed to extract profits while being over-medicated. And you deserve better than carry the guilt of thinking it's your fault. It's not your fault. It's the system that was deliberately built this way. If you need help documenting understaffing issues, understanding your parents' medication records, I offer consultations where I review what's happening and build a strategy. The link is in the description. Subscribe for more ways to advocate for your parent. I'm planning on making more videos about how the healthcare system is undergoing enshittification. Let me know what you'd like to see me tackle next. I'm David, lead pharmacist from MyRxPro. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.